So here I am. I'm kind of bored, and I saw something that just popped up on Netflix. I'm just scrolling, and it said "The Perfect Neighbor." Now, when I read "The Perfect Neighbor," I'm like, okay, this it's an interesting name. I thought that this is something that's perfect. I'm sure there's a little twist to it. So I guess that grabbed my attention a little bit. The title did grab my attention. So I said, you know what, let me start watch. Let me just watch it. Uh, I have no idea what I was getting myself into. I don't watch trailers and I don't really read descriptions out. I like to just be surprised. So apparently, it's a documentary of some events that Netflix put together. Shout out to Netflix, by the way, because this is actually pretty creative, and I was actually kind of hooked on it. I have no idea why. I'm normally not into crime or true crime or whatever, but I said, you know what? Let me just watch this because I had nothing to do. So, beginning of the video, watching it, cops showed up to a lady's house, and I was like, oh, okay, so this is some, you know, I'm just making assumptions in my mind, probably like murder or, uh, you know, some stuff going on here, but still, I'm interested. And then I'm getting more into it, and I'm realizing, oh, I'm like, oh shoot, is this a black and white thing? This might be a black and white thing, and if it is, whatever, let me watch it. So this lady, Caucasian lady, she's renting a property, and she just has the nastiest attitude towards the neighbor's kids. She doesn't like to hear the noise. The kids are playing probably every day, and quite frankly, there were a lot of kids in the area, and I'm thinking of it like when I was growing up, how I used to play with my friends, but on the block it was more like 4 or 5 kids max. It wasn't 20 like it was in her neighborhood. So in some ways I can understand why she was annoyed, but at the end of the day, kids are going to be kids and they're going to play, so you could get annoyed. My first thing is, if it really bothers you that much, you could literally just move out. It's not like you own the property, you rent, so just rent somewhere else, right? You would think. But second, it's like, dude, like, they're kids, just let them have fun. So apparently she calls the cops all the time, and she instigates with the kids, and she goes and try to fight them, like, having an umbrella and, like, you know, tell them to go away, or taking their roller skates and doing some stuff. And every time something she has an encounter with the kids will grab the mom, and the mom will then try to talk to her about it. And at some point, the parents, they don't talk to her about it. They just, argue, and they almost come into blows. And this Caucasian lady, she's not trying to fight. So she said, listen, I am going to grab a gun. I am going to defend myself if these animals try to fight me. I am going to defend myself. So what she did was she purchased a gun, and she showed the kids that she had a gun. So right there, I think that was like in the middle, like halfway through the whole documentary. I said, "Oh shit, she's definitely gonna shoot somebody." I have no idea. I have no recollection. I didn't watch the news. This happened in 2023. So I'm like, oh shit, yep. She grabbed the gun so she could shoot somebody, definitely. So apparently, she was plotting to do this the whole time, man. So um, she had an incident with a kid, and his name was Izzy. She grabbed his roller skates, and she said something. He's like, I'm gonna get my mom. He grabbed his mom. His mom, at that point, like I said, they weren't talking anymore. She just started, hey, come out, I'm gonna beat you up, whatever. She knocked on the door. The lady called the cops, and within 1 minute of her calling the cops, she shot the black lady, kid's mom, and she passed. Now, this was hard for me because I'm not a kid anymore, but I still have a mom. Thank God. And as I'm watching it, I put myself in the kid's shoes for a slight second. I promise you, like, I haven't teared up in a watching a movie since, I promise you guys, I was about maybe 10 or 11 years old. Perhaps I was 12 actually. I watched a movie called Marley and Me. It was about a dog. Um, and I don't know how that movie made me cry. Like, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm crying over a dog movie, bro? Like, what? But ever since then, I haven't cried in a movie. So I guess I'm not counting this one, but it was a documentary and it was a real life situation. So I did shed a tear because when they said, yo, like, your mom is not going to make it, or she didn't make it, and the kids just, oh my goodness, bro. Like, it was a real reaction, right? Because it wasn't on, the cops had the camera and they recorded the whole thing. And it's just like, it really hurt my heart. And I feel so bad for those kids, and they're blaming themselves. And, I would have probably done the same thing, blame myself. And it's just so stupid, man. Like, you're playing a game, you're having fun with your friends, and the next moment your mom gets shot by somebody because they didn't want you to play. They didn't want to see you play. And quite frankly, it had some race. There was some race issues involved, and I don't think that lady liked black people. That's why she was so quick to shoot. But race or not, this was still very tragic, and it was very unfortunate for the mother and the child. And I think that lady definitely got what she deserved, with the jury, because she was plotting it. She was researching, hey, like, how do I kill somebody without facing jail time? Oh, okay, if they knock on your door and try to fight you, I could shoot them, right? Like, she was basically researching all of that on Google, just so she can make sure that if she does shoot, she's not going to jail. But her ass went to jail because it was premeditated. So, man, The Perfect Neighbor, shout out to Netflix, because Netflix, they're constantly innovating and they're constantly keeping their customers engaged. And I appreciate that. I had no idea I was going to enjoy watching a documentary. I don't watch stuff like that. I'm more so into movies and anime most times, and very rarely do I watch something like The Perfect Neighbor. But the title caught my attention. I'm like, what could this be? Is this like a girl stalking a guy, or a guy stalking a girl, or is it like some serial killer stuff? But nah, it was more so white on black crime, which we see kind of like often. But I for some reason I wasn't aware of this happening in 2023. I don't pay attention to the news, so when I saw it, I was like, oh, okay, so that's what's going on. And it was a good documentary. And shout out to Izzy and his family. And I just hope they're doing okay now. It's now 2 years later, and hopefully they got compensated a little bit for Netflix sharing that story. But it was a good one. If you guys want to watch it, watch it. Hopefully I didn't spoil it if you didn't watch it. But it was a cool, somewhat different documentary that Netflix came up with. So I'll catch you guys on the next one. I want to do some more reviews. I'm going to watch some more movies, and then I'll let you guys know what I think about it. All right.